everybody. Today we're going to talk about Anne. Um, at this point, I think I'm probably gonna see a couple more questions because we're gonna start getting into kind of main characters and major characters. So, just so you know, I am filming these like as I can, which means some of them are grouped together. So I may not see your question until after I've post um, follow up videos or whatever. Still give me your questions and I will either make another video or respond in the comments or respond to your email, however we feel is good. Um, I do want to answer kind of any questions that people have. Or, if I know a lot of people um, want to have more stories about certain characters, which we'll also talk about later. Um, but I'm never opposed to hearing requests. Sometimes it really does spark ideas, and I'm able to go fulfill that. So definitely feel free to ask me any questions, no matter if I've already moved on from the topic. Okay, today we're going to talk about Anne. She was actually originally not even existing in After the Cure. By the way, this is going to be, for spoilers, warnings, this is going to be mostly After the Cure book one. Maybe a little bit in the 40th day, but I kind of doubt that. It'll probably mostly be book one. She was not meant to be part of the lab group at all. It was supposed to be just Dr. Pozzo and Dr. Schneider and Dr. Carton. Um, Things changed so Savita was actually meant to be the main character. Nella was not, and I got about halfway through that book before I realized that I was writing the wrong story, basically. Anyhow, when I recovered and started rewriting the book in a different way, I needed a reason for Dr. Pozzo to even realize that something was wrong, and then also a reason that he would care about protecting himself, because we're going to get to this when we get to Dr. Pozzo, but I don't see him as a wholly evil character or somebody that can't be reasoned with. I see him as somebody who, if Anne hadn't been a victim, he probably would have felt guilty enough to actually harm himself, um, and just not be there when the cure was found. But because he was taking care of her, he stuck around. And also because of her, he wanted to get some kind of help for her and then some kind of justice for her, which is why he sent Nella and Frank after Dr. Schneider. It was more about Anne than about himself. So, anyway, I know that in the version that you all read, that may not have come across as clearly as I would like. Um, Again, we will be addressing that later. I don't want to give away too much. Okay, so let's just talk about Anne, who Anne is, and why she is the way that she is. So, um, when, again, this is like going back to when I was in college. When I was in college, I had a friend who had um, a not totally unproblematic relationship with, was actually a professor, not a TA or anything. Um, and I didn't know about it till later, um, long after everything was done. Anyhow, I could see why, for both of them, why it happened, and it still really bothered me, but I understood it. Um, I'm not excusing it or anything. I'm just saying this happened, and that was a little piece of this. The other parts for her as a character, like, she's not based on this friend, but her vulnerability kind of is, because I kind of saw her as the more innocent party, I guess, in this relationship. And that's definitely the case for Anne. I also saw in a lot of my friends at that age and later how eager they were to change things um, in the labs and impress people, and like being very overeager, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like I don't think Anne is stupid or naive. I just think she is very driven and made some choices that had bad consequences that she didn't realize she could have. Like if she had known that exposing herself to this would cause the end of the world, she of course would never have done this. She didn't. She trusted Dr. Schneider when she told her that it was safe. She trusted Dr. Pozzo when he said there was no bad lab results. It was just kind of an unfortunate thing. Not, I won't say accident, because she did make the choice to sleep in the lab room, but I don't think she was fully informed. I think the only person who was fully informed about what was going on maybe was Dr. Schneider, and I think even she didn't really understand that Dr. Pozzo wasn't telling her it was safe. It was just that the lab results were safe. Anyhow, the thing I wanted to talk to you about mostly was this: the teeth must gnash. I wanted to tell you about this little piece because it's that little piece, and the when she's having kind of a meltdown, and Nella starts retelling the Snow White story to her. I wanted to talk about how um, people with, not everybody, just people in my life who have had strokes or memory loss from diseases or trauma or accidents, a lot of times the things that they go back to are things from before that event, whether it's the onset of the disease, the stroke, the accident. And for Anne, I really wanted her to reach back before she got sick, which would mean for her, since she was a college student at the time, that we would be talking about childhood, maybe a little bit of high school, but mostly childhood. So um, that's why Nella tells her childhood story, because she would understand that that would be more comforting to her. The teeth must gnash, originally, my younger brother, Ricky, he's going to hate that I told this story. He's 4 years younger than I am. And when he was very little, my mom used to read him Where the Wild Things Are, like over and over and over and over. And he would always giggle when she got, so there's this part where when Max gets off the boat in that story, all the monsters there, they roll their terrible eyes and roar their terrible roars and gnash their terrible teeth, and he would giggle every single time she read that. So I really wanted Anne to be reaching back into this childhood memory of something that was scary to her and uncontrollable to her, where she knew that she was going to bite, but she couldn't help it. So her instinct is to reach back to this story as a child, where she is warning Nella, she's warning her caretakers, the teeth must gnash, because of that story, because of Where the Wild Things Are. And I wanted her to still be innocent, basically. Like, she cannot understand what's happened to her. She knows something bad happened to her, but she doesn't understand the world she woke up in, and probably no one's really taken the time to explain it. She doesn't remember a lot of what's happened because she's been sick longer than a lot of people with the original variation of it, and so she would have had more long-term effects than than other people would. So that's where that came from, and I probably that's all I have to say about her for now until we get to Dr. Pozzo. I will say for people doubting it that Dr. Pozzo does truly love her, um, and is also very angry at her at the same time, probably unjustly so, and angry at the world. And she is a major motivation for why he does what he does. But I think if she could talk to him, she would tell him not to feel this way because she made her own choices and it was for less to do with him and more to do with wanting to move their project forward. So she would be more active of a character, I think, if she was able to be. And I kind of like always wanted to write a story from her perspective, and maybe that's in the future. I don't know. Um, Obviously, at the end of the 40th day, along with a lot of other characters, that's no longer an option. But in the in between, or maybe before um, the plague, that might be an option. So something to think about. Anyway, she's one of my favorite characters, even though she was never meant to be a character at all. She was kind of a last minute add in. Not, I mean, I added her in when I rewrote the book basically, but long before any edits took place. But she was not originally part of the cast. So, all right, next time we will be talking about Marnie, who is the reason that my husband will no longer read any of my books, which we'll get to. All right, I'll see you later.